Welcome everyone. Oh, it is dark in here. Welcome everyone to if you're watching live on Kick, a bit of a test run here of things. There we go. Oh, my cat's in here. I thought I'd clear everything out, but Bailey's hanging out here making her Kick debut. I think she's gonna come out. There we go. So yeah, a little late podcast wise probably for some of this stuff, but wanted to at least get it out here. So I think the plan going forward is a lot more of the gambling type stuff is going to be on Kick. Going to be doing a little bit more of that and the today's ticket sort of a thing. So that is the plan for this. So we're going to kind of speed run through. This is just going to be a preview of the Thursday games here. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. Give me a follow. We're trying to grow this thing on here as well. So that is what we are doing with all this today. So, all right, let's dive in. I think quickly here, we obviously want to get to the Thursday morning stuff with the Bears taking on the Lions here in a couple of minutes. And so we will start with the DraftKings lineup because you'll still have time to get that one in for those watching. And this would affect the rest of the day. So this is the DraftKings lineup I have this week. We are going with a bit of a gamble, going with Drew Lock at the quarterback spot. I don't know about any of the other matchups really this week. I think obviously Goff is very good, but going up against the Chicago defense, I have concerns there. Devon Achane at running back and Josh Jacobs at running back. We'll talk about Jacobs here in a little bit, but I think two very talented running backs who have a chance to really put up some numbers. And so I guess the running back spot is where we spent up on. But I think overall we spread the money out here pretty good. At wide receiver, it is Malik Neighbors at 7,100. So we got that stack there with Drew Lock. Obviously, if the backup quarterback is going to do anything, the number one wide receiver in the game, maybe not in the game, of the game is a bit stretch, not even in that game, but certainly the number one receiver on the team and a very good number one wide receiver, I think there presents some value, so to speak. Jalen Waddle, that offense has been going a little bit. I do have some concerns about it, and so I don't admittedly love that I have three parts of the Dolphins offense in this game. That greatly concerns me actually, but they are all very talented, and I think they have a chance to maybe all kind of break out here. And then Christian Watson, I know he has the big drop last week, but at $4,900, it is just for what his talents are. If you followed me throughout the regular season, you know that he is a I can't quit you guy. I just think he is so talented, and to get him at that value is good. Tucker Kraft, 3,700. We get to kind of save a little bit of money on a large fellow who might be able to trip and fall into the end zone. Tyreek Hill at 6,900 and the New York Giants at 2,800. So a little bit more exposure for the Dolphins than I would have liked. I guess that's probably where we kind of falter on that one. So, but overall, I think it's a decent squad and one that I'm pretty okay with entering at least a couple of the three free tournaments that are going on today here for the Thursday slate. Let's break down quickly the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. Lions favored by 9.5 points. The total in this game, a little high for me at 48 right now. That was the last note that I saw it at. Anyway, the reason I think it's a little high is I think Chicago's offense is obviously struggling a little bit, and maybe they figured it out toward the end of that game against Minnesota. But the Detroit Lions, they are just on another level with everything that they are doing right now. And so I do think that there is an opportunity for this team to really go out and make a statement. And so the under is not a pick that I am clicking on today. I do have maybe a bit of a concern about them because I think this Detroit Lions offense is just obliterating teams right now and just absolutely dominating everywhere that we have seen from them. And so I just have some concerns about taking the under in this game because Detroit could almost cover that themselves with how well they have been playing. And while I do have a lot of respect for Chicago's offense, A, weird things happen on Thursdays, and B, that offense is just so good that I'm not going to go against it. Overall, I think Detroit is a significantly better team right now, and I think that they have been really making it a point of making a statement right now, and that has been that has been a something that I think has been very noticeable the last little bit from these guys, is just how dominant they have been and how controlling they've been the last little while. They are 100% showing the league, we are this team. And it is, I said on the podcast, Couch Potato Diary, for those of you who are new, I said on the podcast that this is a team that certainly is like the New England Patriots from a few years ago, where they're just trying to run up the score on everybody and really leave no doubt as to who the best team in the National Football League is right now. And so the on today's ticket, I have the Detroit Lions -9.5. That game just about to get underway. So apologies for people listening in podcast form a little bit later on today that we didn't get to this one or didn't get this out quite in time. But for the rest of the games, the New York Giants taking on the Dallas Cowboys in what just has to be one of the worst games that will have ever existed in the history of Thanksgiving Day games. Luckily, that bar is actually kind of low because the Lions have been bad for a very long time and they always play on Thanksgiving Thursday. But the total for this game is at 37.5. The Dallas Cowboys are favored by 3.5 points. And I understand why the Cowboys might be favored here, coming off of a win over Washington, maybe a little bit of optimism. Also, they're a very public team, but I don't have faith that Cooper Rush is going to actually be able to get a whole lot done with this offense. Defensively, this team has been very leaky all season long. Now, on the offensive side for the New York Giants, they're not good. I do think Tracy is an interesting running back, and I do think that Malik Neighbors is a very, very good wide receiver. I accidentally called him the best receiver in the league a few minutes ago. I don't think that highly of him, but I do think that he is a very good wide receiver and someone who is capable of putting up some pretty big numbers here. And so I have a touch more confidence in the offense for the Giants, but I have a lot more confidence on the defensive side of the thing. The one issue you may have is that this team really did seem to quit last week when they got just obliterated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now to come back off of a pretty debilitating loss just a few days ago, I think really does give you a bit of a pause here, but I think that defensive unit is the best group in this game. And so I think that there is an opportunity for them to take advantage of that. I also really do think that on Thursday games, the best coaches win out. And I just personally believe that Brian Daboll is a better coach than Mike McCarthy is. And so I think that there is an edge there. And so even if there is a couple boxes you can check on the Dallas Cowboys sides of things, I don't think it outweighs the ones that you can check on the New York Giants side. And so officially my pick for this game is Giants money line. I got them at plus 150 last night and also went under in this game because I think it is going to be a bit of a slog at 37.5. And so I did a same game parlay and then a couple individual ones with that. Moving on to the last one of the day. This is going to be a bit of a quicker one. And honestly, the shows on Kick here from now on are probably going to be a little bit quick just in general as we implement the today's ticket aspect of things into it. Green Bay Packers favored by 3.5 points, total at 47.5. I think that there is a little bit of forgetting with this line because it has looked so bad anytime the Miami Dolphins have gone into weather. And not even just the stuff from last year, because this team is playing a little bit better now as it goes on. But you think back to earlier this year when they went into Buffalo early in the season on that Thursday night and got just annihilated before Tua ended up having that very scary injury that he ended up having. I think that you do have to look at the trends and see that this is not a team that handles weather very well. It is going to be a night game in Lambeau. I've been watching football long enough to know that when we get to, basically any time of year, but certainly as Christmas decorations are going up, Mariah Carey is thawed off, and hey, look at this. It's a night game in Green Bay. That's going to be cold. It's going to be miserable. And Miami does not handle that all that well at all, which is why, again, I don't love the exposure I have to them on the today's ticket, but I do think that some of their guys are going to be good enough to at least one of them I think can bust off and hopefully be worth the money in that sense. But from an actual game standpoint, I have major concerns about Miami being able to move the football or just do anything at all. Now, I will say, I do think a lot of what happened last year is based off of the struggles that they were having and the injuries that they were having on the defensive side of the football. And those are cleaned up maybe a little bit, but I just have so many concerns about how this team handles cold weather. And so I am going to bet against it until they prove me wrong. And then maybe even then I'll bet against it again, just to be sure. On the Green Bay side of things, this is a team that has had some struggles this year, and they're coming off a very good win. Well, they're coming off of a win. Sorry, I have to let my cat jump up. There we go. They're coming off of a win here over. Hey, this is your kick debut, I think. Say hi to Bailey, everyone. That's Bailey. Hi. They're coming off of a win over the San Francisco 49ers. That when you stack it up, like they did blow them out by the end of it for sure. San Francisco was banged up. Significantly banged up. Like just not a good football team in that game. And Green Bay kind of dribbled the air out of the basketball with that, and I think that's going to be the plan for this team going forward. But the passing game, it still hasn't clicked. Jordan Love hasn't looked good all season long, and they're still winning games, so that's really nice. But for me to fully buy into this team, I am going to need to see Jordan Love step it up a little bit more than we have seen from him so far this season. And the good thing is that they have a ton of talent around him, and Josh Jacobs is a beast. And I am happy as a Raider fan, for those new here, as a Raider fan, I am happy to see that Josh Jacobs is getting kind of his due out there now, and really someone who is stepping up in a big time way for this football team and is getting to show everyone how good he is, especially after some of the weird usage out in Vegas this last season. So I think that he is going to have a good game. I think that the Packers, while I have bigger questions about them going forward, I do think that there is a team here that can at least beat Miami just based off of the weather. And so I didn't put this on my kind of betting sheet that we're going to put up here at the end, but I am going to add under 47.5 to this one as well for Green Bay. The reason I didn't click on it last night, I do still have a little bit of concern about the Green Bay defense. And while I do think that Miami's offense gets stuck in the snow, as we've seen a lot of people out here in Calgary get stuck in the snow, I think that we are going to see a team that has some issues offensively, but I just think Green Bay's defense isn't quite to the level that I want them to be at right now. And so I was a little hesitant on that, but the more I think about this and the more I think about the weather aspect, also the ball control for the Green Bay Packers, as like I said, they dribbled the air out of the ball in that game, and they came up with a few interceptions and stuff like that late to be able to really put that game away and add a few more points to it. But I think they're going to want to run the ball, take a lot of time off of the clock, and really grind this thing out. And so I think that is where, just based on the pace of play, I think this game goes under 47.5. So keep that one in mind. We're going to go now to the best bets of the day. As my cat is just freaking out down here. But the best bets of the day here, we have Lions minus 9.5. Hopefully, for those watching, even a little bit later, I'm going to try to get this up like immediately. We can get this up podcast-wise and on YouTube as well. And Daily Motion. But I think Lions minus 9.5, we're going to be able to get that one done. And I just think they really blow this game out. We went with a couple of plays in the middle game. The Giants money line plus 150, and then Giants Cowboys under 37.5. And then in the last one, 3 plays, and did a same game parlay on all of those as well. And then individual picks. Also, Green Bay minus 3, Tua Tagovailoa under 240.5 passing yards, and Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown with the way that they have been utilizing him. So that is today's ticket, and that is today's show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We're presented by Sea of Dead. If you like this hat, head over to seaofdead403.ca and check out some of the great stuff that we have over there. We got pre-order on some sweaters. It is absolutely right now. But we also have Dutton's at the Dome and Classic Jacks. And out right now, we have a Stampede Wrestling shirt and a Run YYC plus limited quantities. Quality's fantastic. Limited quantities left of the Calgary Cannons hats. So, hoping to do more of this over here on Kick. If you have any thoughts at all, let me know in the chat. You can find me on social media. I am everywhere at Primetime Klein. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Over on Blue Sky, it is at Primetime Klein, and then all the other shit that you have to put on there for no good reason. And Threads as well, at Primetime Klein. I am also over on Twitch, twitch.tv/primetimepk, and you can find all the stuff that I do over on YouTube, youtube.com/@CouchPotatoDiary. So, thank you guys so much, and I will talk to all of you a little bit later. For those of you who are in Calgary, or I guess internet, I'm on Sportsnet 960 The Fan today, 2 to 4, coming up with Sportsnet today. So, thank you all so much for helping out with this little test run here, and I will talk to all of you a little bit later on. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.